everybody. My name is Crystal. I am the Antisocial Planner, and I'm here to share with you today a peek into my reading journal. I wanted to share with you all what it looks like because I'm really happy with it. I've enjoyed it for a couple of years now, and I'm excited that it's managed to hang on for that long with some variations. And so yeah, I just wanted to walk you through it. I first decided to start a reading journal because I was inspired by Julie's plans. I love her page, I love her videos. If you guys haven't checked her out, please do so. I know she's not very active right now in terms of making videos, but she is very active on Instagram and TikTok, and I would advise you to go watch her back catalog because she has a lot of good stuff in there. So this journal I started last year in 2024, and I initially started with the idea of, I'll skip over that for now, having an index just to kind of log the titles of the books and be able to reference them more easily if I wanted to look back at what I had written in my reviews. And then I wanted to do a reading tracker, and this just did not work out last year. And I figured out the reason was because I don't carry this book with me every day. And so when I would come back here to log my reading days, I wouldn't always remember what days exactly that I read. So I kind of just gave up on this for last year, and I'll show you next year's in a minute. And then the formatting of my reviews was very detailed. I had all of these little sections. I was logging the title, author, genre, the date published. Oh, I just realized I missed this one. The number of pages, my start date, my finish date, if I owned the book, if I got it from the library, or if I borrowed it from a friend, my star rating, my plot rating, and then whether or not I liked the ending. I tried to grab a quote from each book, and then I'd write a quick snippet of thoughts and takeaways, and then ultimately what I recommended. And then I tried to enter a one-sentence review. I thought this was kind of like a funny play on how I would sell somebody on this book if I only had a few minutes, you know, kind of like my elevator pitch on a book. So I tried to sum up my takeaway and my review into one sentence. And it was kind of fun, but also a lot of stress. And I had grabbed some of these ideas of what I wanted to record from pre-printed planners, and I thought I would pull only what would be interesting to me that I'd want to record, and, you know, avoid the pre-filled planner by just recording what I wanted to record. Now, over time, I kind of fell off some of the components, or like in this case, I just had so much to write, I didn't have room for all the components. And it started to feel like a lot of pressure to fill out every section. So as you can see, I just fell off and made it even more simpler and straightforward. And I think I liked this format a lot more. Unfortunately, some of these are kind of short because I didn't get back to the review after reading the book as quickly as I would have liked. And you know how books fly through your brain and quickly leave once you're done with it. So I did my best to recall what I could remember towards the end here for some of these books. And yeah, so they got a little bit shorter. So for 2025, I did the same with regards to an index because I feel like this is still useful. And then with the reading tracker, what I did was I included a reading tracker in my everyday journal, so that way I can mark it off there for the week, and then use that journal and that tracker to then inform this tracker. And so that's been very helpful for me, and I love seeing all of my reading days colored in. and then also looking back and seeing what months were lighter for me because I was in a slump and just, not in the mood or super busy or what have you. And then the format, again, I simplified it for my reviews, and I decided to take away the pressure of trying to feel like this needed to be so well-informed or so like thorough in terms of like a true review. It was really just like my thoughts that I had when reading the book, almost kind of like something I would share with a friend, not so much something that I was worried about sounding good on Goodreads or something like that to, help the masses. But this is just for me, so that took a lot of pressure off of filling these out, and I've actually enjoyed it a lot more. So that's been nice. And then I've been marking. I have a two-person book club. It's just me and a friend, and me being more of an antisocial person, it's worked out really, really well for us in that we had known each other from work. We worked at the same university, and we were just, initially acquaintances, and then we stumbled upon the fact that we were reading the same book through our social media, and we said, well, why don't we meet up when we're done reading so we can talk about it? And that just blossomed into an awesome little book duo of a book club, and that's lasted us. We hit 3 years in this September, so I've really enjoyed having my friend help keep me accountable with reading. So even if I don't, outside of the books we choose, pick up anything, at least I know I'm reading something, and knowing that I'm going to meet up with her is motivation enough to read those books. So our target is typically every other month we meet, because we are both very busy. She no longer works at the same university as I, and she lives a distance away, so it's a bit of travel on both our parts. We try to, go back and forth to each other when we meet, and so every other month has worked out perfectly, and we've managed to maintain it for 3 years, and I love it, and it's wonderful. So I'm marking with these little cute Coffee Monster Co. stickers the books that are part of our book club. And so as you can see, some of these were, this is a book I've already read. I'm just reading it to my son, but I added it to my log because I did complete that book this year. And yeah, I'm really loving it. Oh, and also the book cover stickers, I simply just take a snapshot of the cover on my phone, and then I use my little Canon IV printer that allows me to print 4 pictures on one sticker sheet, and then I cut those up and stick them in the book. As you can see, this particular book, I had a lot to say. This is a wonderful read, Daughters of Shandong by Eve J. Chung. I really love that book. I would recommend that one for sure if you love historical fiction. This was just a new peek into the experiences of war during communism in China. So that was really, really interesting to read. I had never read a book from that particular era or based in that particular era, so I would highly recommend it. And so yeah, I've moved through quite a few for 2025. And now one thing I want to add, once I'm done filling in my final reads for the year, I was inspired by Erin Smith. She does beautiful reading journals, and I would highly recommend going to her page if you want to get inspired to add a little bit of fun to your journals, or even get ideas in terms of adding more content with regards to the layouts of your pages. Or for me personally, I really was intrigued by her including stats in her journal. So I picked a few things that I want to focus on or record for myself for the end of the year. So things that typically I can't find in the reading app that I use. I use Goodreads. I know some people use, I think it's Storyography or something like that. Sorry, I can't remember the name of that right now. I don't really necessarily want to migrate all my history into a new app, so I plan to stick with Goodreads, and I figured the stats that I care to retain, I will just put here in my reading journal for myself. So I want to do a pie chart of where I sourced my book, whether it was part of my collection, whether it was from the library or a library ebook. I'm just now getting into ebooks. I don't know what took me too long. I can't say I was a snobby paper-bound reader only in terms of like, no judgment to anybody. If people could read ebooks, awesome. I do see that as reading. Audiobooks, yes, I do see that as reading as well. I know there's this, I don't know how prevalent that controversy still is in the book world, or how big that conversation still is, but I just could never bring myself to do it. I liked the feel of, paper in my hand and the smell of a good book. But sometimes with regards to convenience, the ebook has become an awesome go-to for me, and the fact that you can borrow them for free from the library, I think is so awesome. So I really got hooked on sourcing ebooks from the library, and I just am in the midst of my first audiobook. I didn't think I would be able to focus enough on the story and fully absorb it when listening to an audiobook. Sometimes my brain goes in and out of frequencies, and my thoughts start to wander, and then minutes go by and I've lost a chunk of whatever it was that I was listening to. But I thought I would give it a try, and I am really enjoying it. I'm listening to it as I drive to and from work or run errands, or sometimes even at work. I like to have background noise on. It helps keep me focused, ironically enough. And so it's been awesome, and I just can't believe I've only just begun using that resource, but I'm excited to keep doing more audiobooks. So I also wanted to do a pie chart of the categories of genres that I read, and see kind of which ones were more prevalent for the year. I do want to do a perpetual reading tracker, so then I can see a little bit more linearly, like my reading days, as opposed to the reading tracker I have in the front. I know that might seem a little redundant, but like I said, these are all kind of sectioned off. I want to see it a little more linearly, and I thought that would be an interesting kind of data to record. And then I also finally want to do total number of books read, total number of pages read, total number of days read, what book took me the longest to read, and what book was the quickest for me to read, and then ultimately my favorite read of the year and my least favorite read of the year. And then I did develop a rating system. I decided I had this extra page in the front, and because I have lots of blank pages to fill still, and we'll probably use this for at least another 2 years, maybe even 3, I thought, why not put the reading sets or the rating systems here on this very front page. So for my star system, it's very simple. I didn't want to make it overly complicated. I'm an emotional reader, so I thought, let's simplify it. So with regards to a 5-star read, it would be something I absolutely loved and would reread. With a 4-star read, it's great. I would absolutely recommend. A 3-star read is okay, not mad at it, but wouldn't recommend. 2-star, I finished it, but just barely. And then a 1-star would be something that I just DNF'd because couldn't get through it. And yeah, I wanted to give it something, so 1-star. Plot ratings. I just thought this was like a fun component to rate, because it's not something that I typically would sit and parse through on, I feel like when I would share something about a book, but I feel that it's kind of fun, and I've started to think on it more as I read my books. So a 5-star or a 5-point plot rating means absolutely gagged, didn't see anything coming, got totally enveloped in the story, and wish I could live in that world. A 4-star plot, or I wish I would have thought of that storyline. A 4-point rating. Slightly predictable, but a smooth read. Like, I didn't get tripped up. I didn't start thinking, why would this person say this, or why would this person do that? That's not making sense. So still like slight moments of predictability, but overall smooth read. 3-point rating, predictable read. I'm not saying that that's a terrible thing, but you know, there are some books where you can easily identify the trope and then start to figure out where this story might go. So I would give that a 3-point rating. A 2-point rating, holes on holes, like things just aren't adding up, which would also relate to something that I finished, but just barely. And then a 1-point rating would be there is no plot. And so I would not finish. And now, typically, of course, every book, yes, like you could argue has a plot, but if I can't follow along and it's just like all over the place and I'm not enjoying it, then that's a 1 for me. So yeah, I'm very excited to continue to fill up this journal with all my reads. It's been serving me well, and I can't wait to get it set up for 2026. I'm going to do it a little differently in that I plan to start with the index, and then I will follow the index with the rating for the year, the end of year rating sheet. So then that's all ready to go, and then I don't have to worry about saving so many pages because I don't know exactly how many books I'm going to read. So I would just like the freedom to be able to finish the read, and that for the final read for the year, and then be able to jump in and fill in my end of year ratings. I mean, I guess it's not a big deal. I could just set up this page at the very end, but I would like to have it set up before the year kicks off. So I plan to put it in the very front after the index. And then another component I wanted to add to my reading journal, and I'm not sure, I think I am just going to insert it in the middle here because I don't know that I want to work my way backwards with it, but maybe I should, because I'll start adding more books over the years. I wanted to create a little bookshelf, you know, those cute little bookshelves that people put in their journals and they color in books when they've completed them. But I wanted the shelf specifically for books I already own but have not read. So the thought would be to dig into my stack more and read more of what I already own than spending money on books that I do need but I have the option to pick from home. So what I thought though was I would create a table in my Google Drive to have the image of the book cover and then the title, and make it like a checklist for myself. So then I could browse that spreadsheet if I'm looking for a book I own to read, separate them by genre. So like I said, I'm an emotional reader, so if I can browse by genre, then I might be able to pick a book a little bit easier there from that list. So have the visual electronic list to peruse from, and then give my little dopamine hit by coloring in a book on my bookshelf here in my journal after completing one of those reads. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. I thought maybe I'll color, you know, all the books for 2026 one color, and then all the books for 2027 another color, just so I can see, have like a total count for each year of what I've read. That's the way I'm leaning. So hoping this edition will help me read more of books I already own. So thank you so much for following along. I'd love to hear any ideas that you guys have. Like, I'm not opposed to changing my format. Right now this is working for me, but if you had any like fun things that you do, that you track in your reading journals. I'd love to hear about them. And I hope you have a wonderful day.